suddenly, and I heard the familiar footsteps of the guardsman from outside. A gruff voice called out from behind the door at the back of the cart. "Back away from the door, prisoners. If you try to run, you'll get no food for the day." Heavy latches flipped and scraped, and after a pause, the door opened. "If you need to relieve yourselves, speak now, or—" The guard's hand flew to his sword when he noticed my manacle-free wrists. "Shit!" he exclaimed, as his eyes scanned wildly around the interior of the wagon until he found the shattered remains of my irons. I held out my wrists toward him and did my best to look contrite. "Sorry, sir, my shackles broke. I think I need new ones." Kicking at the metal shards, I cocked my head. I'm not sure what happened. Though I fought against it, a faint smile spread across my face. His nostrils flared as his brow hardened, but his expression quickly turned to concern. "I need a new pair of shackles back here for the prisoner. A stronger pair," he hollered around the side of the wagon, never taking his eyes off me. "I'm not sure what you're playing at, but this sort of behavior isn't going to be tolerated." He straightened his shoulders and stared me down, but his confidence was undercut by the wavering break of his voice when he finished speaking. "Sir, I really don't think the irons are necessary at all. I'm not planning on running away, and I'm certainly not going to try and fight the whole caravan by myself. Plus, it's not like the restraints could stop me should I change my mind." I paused for a moment with a serious expression to let the statement sink in, then laughed briefly. "And they're just so uncomfortable." A second guard appeared and handed over a fresh set of thick metal chains, peering carefully through the open door at me before scurrying away. I watched the indecision play across the guard's face. It almost looked as though he agreed with me, but he shook his head and motioned me forward. "By the captain's orders, you are to be restrained. No exceptions." With a sigh, I scooted forward along the bench and allowed him to place the new manacles around my wrists and ankles. When he was finished, he pulled a bag from his belt and tossed it up into the cart. "Breakfast, for both of you." Leah let out a small squeak of surprise. She had been sitting quietly during my interaction with the guard, still curled into a ball facing the opposite end of the wagon, when the bag of rations landed next to her with a dull thud. I turned to face her and saw the fear in her eyes. She's worse now than she was in the dungeons. The thought filled me with self-loathing. Because of me. "Leah," I called out softly, "do you need to use the bathroom?" She shook her head and looked away again. "I suppose we're all set then," I said, turning back to the guard. "Thank you for the food, sir. We'll be seeing you again soon, I imagine." He watched me through squinted eyes for a moment, then closed the door and locked it without a response. The wagon resumed its rumbling advance soon after. I moved back to my seat across from Leah and took a moment to destroy my new shackles. "Shatter," I murmured under my breath, activating the mana I had saturated throughout the bonds. The surface fractured along microscopic faults within the metal and came apart all at once with a sharp cracking sound. I rubbed my wrists absent-mindedly as I watched Leah. "I hate seeing you like this, Leah." My voice was thick with remorse. "Can you talk to me about how you're feeling? If there's anything I can do to—" "No!" She interrupted me sharply. The harshness of her tone seemed to catch her off guard, and she momentarily recoiled at the sound of her own voice. "I'm sorry. I don't want you to worry about me. There's nothing you need to do." Carefully, I shifted across the aisle to sit in front of her on the wooden bench. "I'm always going to worry about you, Leah." I clasped her hand gently in between both of my own. "We've always been honest with each other until now. You're obviously in a lot of pain, and I want to help you in any way I can." Leah's hand trembled as she looked up at me, sending tears cascading down her face. I know. She leaned forward and rested her forehead against my chest, stifling a sob. "I'm not ready to talk about it yet, is all." "That's okay," I whispered in her ear. My fingers ran down through her long hair in tender, soothing strokes. "I'll be here for you whenever you're ready, okay?" Leah nodded weakly in response. Wrapping her in my arms,